everybody, it's Alexa, and it's very hot right now, so forgive me if I'm glistening. I'm glistening with the heat. I am going to share with you why you can live without a car better today than ever before in the United States. And I've experienced this myself the last 10 years or more, actually. We've been a one-car family with a family of four, and lately in the last 2 to 3 years, I have really enjoyed my bicycle, taking trains. I've actually taken trains all over the world, taking water transport, and it just makes me realize, first of all, you can save so much money by not having a car. And second of all, there are just so many different ways to get around now that didn't used to exist, whether it's e-bikes, all the different devices like one wheels and powered scooters and all the sharing services as well. So a lot of people assume that it's impossible, especially once you become a parent. They assume it's impossible to live without a car. But I'm here to assure you that you can teach your children to take public transportation, and they will be much stronger as a result. You'll save a lot of money, and you'll save your sanity, because I still find to this day that getting in a car is a source of fights with our family. And I have, one adult son and one teenage son, and they're still fighting about who gets the front seat. They're still fighting in the back, all this stuff. And so more and more, I'm trying to live locally. And there's still plenty of options, right? There are more rental services than ever before. Zipcar is an option that I use probably once every couple months. I don't try to use it that often because it does get expensive. I also will use Lyft in a pinch. I will use regular taxis. But I really love to use my bicycle. That's actually my favorite thing. And sometimes to get around the Bay Area, I will take 3 or 4 modes of transportation. I will take a bike to a ferry, to a metro, to a Caltrain, or a bike to Amtrak, to walking. There's so many options, and I just want to encourage you to explore all of them, because if you live in a metro area, if you live in a metropolitan area, there are many, many options. Now, again, I live in the Bay Area, which is well suited for this. Certainly not the best, not as good as, say, New York, but very well suited for it. And granted, I don't know what it's like to live in Los Angeles and be, have huge, huge distances of 20 or 30 miles that you want to traverse for a regular, encounter. Here in the Bay Area, or I should say more than that, more like 50 or 60 miles sometimes in LA. Those are normal distances. And some other southwestern cities, I would say, and western cities have that problem of sprawl. The Bay Area, a little bit less, just because it's more compressed. But so I realize if you're out in the suburbs, yeah, you're kind of screwed. Which is why you really should consider not being in the suburbs. Either that or not commuting. Sort of take your pick. Either find a way to have a job where you don't commute, or find a local job, or move, or even rent locally. I've thought about that sometimes. Like, what about renting in a nearby city, or being a roommate or something? There's always a way to do it. And people, again, they always sort of say, well, that's impossible. It's impossible. You have to. It's only impossible if you don't try, and it's only impossible also if you just have stretched your limits so far beyond, your capability. But then again, you have to ask yourself, why? Why am I living in this stressful situation? Why am I living, with a house that I feel is like dragging me under the water? And the final thing I want to say is that here in California, we are very slowly but surely building a bullet train that will go from the Bay Area to Los Angeles. And that high-speed rail, you can go online and you can look at the high-speed rail project and see what they're doing. And sometimes I've thought about like donating my services. Not that I'm such a great marketer, but people are so unaware of how great our train system is. And I did have the opportunity in the last year, um, very, very lucky opportunity to travel to Europe um, 2 times. No, 3 times. Oh my gosh, amazing. And in the course of doing that, I got to take the subway, got to take the metro, got to take high speed trains. I took trains in Italy and Switzerland and Germany. And what I discovered was yes, the best trains were in Switzerland, they were amazing. And Switzerland left me feeling a little bit like, oh God, we'll never get there. But then Germany, I realized they have a car culture. Now, there's tons of people on bicycles in Germany, in Berlin, where I was. But they also have trains, and then they also have cars. Their trains don't go to the airport, at least not in Berlin. But that doesn't stop the cars and the bicycles from coexisting. So that kind of gives me hope because America is a car culture. But you know what? I have to say, and again, forgive me for boasting that I've been to Europe 3 times in the last 2 years. It's a quirk of my work that I was able to do that. Um, and it was for work. It wasn't vacationing, and which is actually my favorite way to travel anyway. Um, it gives me purpose. I prefer it. But the main point I want to say about that is that a lot of people sort of, if you tell certain people about taking the train in America, they'll kind of snobbily say, well, American trains are just so terrible compared to European trains. Not so. And they will say, oh, nobody takes the train in America. Not so. Amtrak has great deals. I'm only beginning to explore this, but I have now taken the entire Amtrak Coast Starlight line from Seattle all the way to Los Angeles. And actually, we went past Los Angeles, then we took a commuter train to Anaheim. So I went from Seattle to Oakland. That was 24 hours. Whoa, a lot went down in 24 hours. We had a medical emergency. I was called upon to speak Spanish for a couple where the man had become disoriented in the night, and he had Alzheimer's. It was actually kind of sad. And you meet people, you get hungry, you share snacks with people. The scenery is incredible. You will get an amazing amount of work done, and it's incredibly affordable. So that was 24 hours. I couldn't believe it. Then, on a different, separate occasion, I took with my sons. We went from Oakland to Anaheim, and I took Amtrak. And again, the Coast Starlight, which is what I recommend. Try to take the tourist lines where you can, the sightseeing lines, because they'll have a beautiful observation car. You'll have a dining car where you'll eat with people that you've never met before and have lovely conversations. And you will go on the ride from the Bay Area to LA. You will pass SpaceX. You will pass San Luis Obispo. You will pass Pismo Beach. You will pass parts of California that nobody can see by car. So consider that for a very affordable price, you can get to Santa Barbara or all parts of Southern California and see parts of them that nobody else can see without any of the hassle of driving. So, and what the point I want to leave you with is this. There is, again, an assumption that nobody takes the train. Well, on the high-speed rail system, they have some wonderful rail system website. They have some wonderful quotes, and they say that the California trains or the West Coast trains carry millions of passengers per year, and it's actually one of the highest trafficked train lines in the world. So if you think nobody's taking Amtrak, you are wrong. And you can break it up. You can go all over the US. You can get rail passes. You can get points. They have special deals. There's credit cards that'll give you points for Amtrak travel. It's just a really interesting way to travel America. And I want to do much more of it. I haven't done nearly enough, but I want to do much more of it. So again, realize that you do not have to own a car or own 2 cars or several cars. Like I said, I don't want to be a hypocrite. I do own the 1 car. Do you know how much it cost me to register my car? Now, I don't know, maybe in other states this would be expensive, but here in California, I just paid $140 to register my car. I pay $160 in insurance every 6 months. I do no repairs because it's unbreakable. It's very high mileage, hundreds of thousands of miles. and it's 20 years old. And you can see my other video about how to make your car last forever for some tips on why I have such a high mileage, immortal car. Um, and sometimes I feel guilty about not getting an electric car, but I have to say, unfortunately, it seems like electric cars are mostly coal powered cars. And my preference is no car. I also don't like the battery technology right now. And like I said, it's same thing with e-bikes. For me to have a bike that costs twice what my car cost, and also given the ease with which somebody could steal a $2,000 or $5,000 bike, I just am not really convinced I want to own one, especially with potentially obsolete battery technology and all of that. But the point there again is there are just so many technologies available to you, and I want to leave you with this. I believe that by having the one car all these years, we have probably saved easily over $100,000 between insurance. I'm a potential, right? Between insurance, registration fees, new car fees, repairs. Imagine most people are buying cars, new cars, for tens of thousands of dollars. You could easily spend $100,000 just on 3 new cars over some period of time. So you can save so much money. But beyond that, here's what I always say about not driving or driving less. Oh, and by the way, I love to drive and I love my stick shift, but I've said it in other videos. It's not fun to drive whenever you can't drive nicely. You can't drive happily. First of all, a lot of people don't know how to drive anymore. I'm sorry, they don't. And they are distracted. They're on their phones. They're not looking. And the roads are clogged. And, you're spewing out fumes. You're teaching your children that you will chauffeur them places and that they don't need to learn about their surroundings, know where they are, figure out how to get from point A to point B. That's what you need to do. Those are life skills. And those life skills have enabled me to go all over the world. So you need to have those life skills, and driving around or having somebody drive you around is not the way to get them. Even Lyft or some other way. Take it upon yourself to learn your surroundings. And like I said, let me just leave you with this. Without a car or driving less makes you more joyful. It saves you more money and leads you to financial freedom. And it makes you healthier. And it makes the planet healthier and less dependent on petroleum products. So with that, I hope you're inspired. Go out tomorrow and either ride your own bike or go get yourself your Ford or whatever your local bike share is. Borrow a car from a friend if you need one. We actually have done that on occasion. Years have passed, but there have been times when we didn't have any car and we would borrow from somebody or even rent from a relative. But again, you don't need that. Go get your local transit card if you don't already have one, so that you can take all your local transit. And you know what? I finally did this. Mainly this is a cash flow. If you have the cash flow to do it, or if you have a credit card you can do it on, put your local transit card on autofill. I finally did that. And I don't know how much I've spent, but it is kind of nice to never worry about running out of money on your transit card. And you can take a cable car, you can take a train, you can take whatever you want, a ferry, whatever, and it's all on that card. That's what you can do in the Bay Area. So let's lead the way, people. Let's lead the way to a happier, healthier, more joyful life and enjoy it on our own power. Thanks for watching. Bye.